Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to talk about one of the really popular services that we do here at Boffix, and that's called accounting. Now, as the name suggests, we are an accountancy firm and we do accounting, but let's understand exactly what it means and also how our prices are actually created. Watch this video to understand a little bit more about our services to give you confidence that we're going to be looking after you in the right way. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Aaron Patrick. I am a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with a fancy new logo, that QuickBooks Chap on the internet, and also head of accounts here at Boffix. Now, as I teased in the beginning of the intro, what we're going to talk about today is actually going to be all about the world of accountancy and our service for accounting. What we want to do in this video is explain to you exactly what that means, what that service means to you. Now, before we get any further, let's understand exactly what your requirements is as a business and understand where we come in to help. Now, it doesn't matter what type of business you own. It could be a limited company, it could be a sole trader, but it doesn't matter what it is. You have one requirement or one statutory requirement that is definite no matter what type of business that is, and that is to make sure that HMRC know about what your business did in a particular year. And to do that, they require you to complete what's called a tax return. Now, this could be a personal tax return if you're a sole trader, or what we would like to call as an ITR, an income tax return, or it could be a corporation tax return if you're a limited company, and what we would call a CT600. Now, for us to get some information into a tax return, we need to complete what's called a set of accounts. And a typical account will be for a year, which will have a year end. And those accounts basically account for all the income, less any expenditure, and provides a profit. Now, there's a lot more complications in terms of what else is included in accounts, but in a nutshell, every set of accounts will tell you that figure: how much income they've received, how much expenses that company has had, and what profit they've made in the year. They'll also include balance sheet items and accounting notes and all other stuff that will include in a set of accounts. But basically what we need for the tax return is that profit figure. Now, to get to those accounts, what we do need though is also bookkeeping. And bookkeeping is basically simplified as going to be what is happening on a day-to-day basis within a business. Now, we've done another video on what us at Boffix do for our bookkeeping service. So if you're a little bit confused or you find that bookkeeping is a bit of a struggle for you, then do head over to that video and you can understand a little bit more about what our bookkeeping service is about. Now, depending if you're a limited company or a sole trader, we're either going to be completing or compiling for you one set of accounts or two sets of accounts. We're always going to need to compile a set of accounts that will go into that tax return. Again, either a personal tax return or a corporation tax return. But as a limited company, we also need to create a set of accounts, what we would call an abbreviated set of accounts, which will go to Companies House. And that's a statutory requirement. So if you put this into a nutshell, as a business, you have a statutory requirement to compile a set of accounts that go into a tax return. Again, if you're a sole trader, then you're going to compile a set of accounts that basically prove the figures that you put onto a tax return. So if HMRC ever came along and questioned where these profit figures came from, when this income came from, they'll be able to find that out straight away because you'll be able to provide a set of accounts. Also, if you're looking to borrow money like a mortgage or anything, then as a sole trader, it's really important that you have a set of accounts to justify it. And when we do a set of accounts, we would put our name, our signature as Boffix on there to prove that it's been done by a credible source. Remember, as a chartered accounting firm, we're governed by ICAW. So we get to put on our set of accounts for you that they have been compiled by an ICAW chartered accountant, and that's what our service entails. If you're a limited company, we do that same thing again. We will do a set of accounts with that ICAW branding on it as well. And what that also means for you is we'll compile a set of accounts that will go with your CT600, your corporation tax return, and we'll also compile a set of accounts that go towards Companies House, keeping you compliant from your statutory requirements. Now, we've seen in this diagram why we need to do a set of accounts. It's basically so we can complete a tax return so that then HMRC is happy, or we can complete some accounts to send to Companies House so they're happy. Again, keeping those compliance ticked. But what we need to be able to do that is some bookkeeping. And remember that bookkeeping is going to be crucial for us to complete some accounts. What we also offer with this set of accounts is that we will take the information from bookkeeping and we will produce that accounts for you in a lovely format. That format is going to be agreed by Companies House and agreed by HMRC. And what that also means is it gives you an opportunity to talk about what those accounts mean. We give you the opportunity to book some time with us, one of our experts, and we go through that accounts with you so that you have confidence before you sign it, before it gets submitted. And more importantly than that, we can start thinking about what that means for your business, what that means for the future, what that means for that particular year, and giving you some insights into what you could look out for or how we can structure your business to make it as tax efficient as possible. Our account solution is one of our most popular solutions by a long way. And the reason is because our clients get that support that they need. We want our small businesses not just survive, but to thrive. And you can ask all of our clients, every single one of them will definitely be able to tell you that the account service that we offer is designed with that in mind. We have a nice set of qualified accounts, means that you have a way of understanding how individual years went. We don't just show you what happened in that year, but we show you a comparative if there's available, and it gives you an indication of how your business is doing. That is what it's all about. The statutory requirements are important, and it's great to be able to sleep at night knowing those statutory requirements are completed, but really the value in account is understanding how your business is doing. And that's why us, as the experts, are always happy to have a chat about your account. Now, you can see why we do an account and what accounts for, so let's head over to our quoting system so we can give you a bit of indication of what we need from you to understand what your quote would be for an accounting service. Let's have a look. Now, compiling a set of accounts is a complex area, but there is an opportunity for us to make sure we get it right when we do the quotes, and for that we need a bit of information from you. So the first factor that's going to affect you is your annual turnover. You see, what we don't want to do is charge the same amount for someone who's making £10,000 in a year turnover to someone who's making £500,000 in a year. We want to make sure that we're balancing it right. So as your turnover increases, that's when our fee will increase with it, because we want to be making sure that we've got enough capacity there to be able to make sure that we're getting that accounts done nice and properly. You'll see that when we do look at our turnover options, we have loads of different types of bands there, and it's about just finding one that fits right for you. The next thing we ask from you is how many transactions you have in a particular month. Now the reason for that is the more transactions in a month, the more items we need to check and the more items we need to go through. Now transactions typically are what goes through that bank account. So have a rough idea of how many transactions you have in that bank. You'll see we have loads of different ranges, so there's always going to be a range that's going to fit for you and your business. One thing to remember though, if you're using an e-commerce platform like say eBay or Amazon or something like that, then just count that as one transaction, even though you may have had hundreds of transactions coming through. The reason for that is we can use some really clever technology to be able to make sure that we can automate that on your behalf. So that's one of the advantages of coming with Boffix, because we don't penalise you for having those extra transactions through there. Now our quoting system, our fee structure is very sophisticated. We're looking at that annual turnover, we're looking at year-end accounts, and we're looking at one more factor. And that's for your bookkeeping quality. Now through here we have various different options. And it's important to understand what those options mean and understand what your quality of records will be like. So what we mean by bookkeeping quality is basically that bookkeeping element that we mentioned at the beginning and how that translates to the quality of the work, how much work we need to do as accountants to be able to turn that bookkeeping into a statutory set of accounts. Now, we have various options. The first one is really straightforward, Boffix bookkeeping. If you've already committed for Boffix to do your bookkeeping for you, most of the time the reason for that is that you have seen the value in passing that over to someone else to do. Then if we're doing the bookkeeping for you, then we give you the most amount of discount we can, because we want to be making sure that you are supported for the fact that you've given us the chance to do that work. You see, if we've done the bookkeeping, we know that that's going to be in a good state. We know we can take that information as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and we can turn a Boffix bookkeeping solution into a set of statutory accounts really straightforward. The next options go from really, if Boffix isn't doing that bookkeeping, then what type of state are those quality of bookkeeping in? We have an option for excellent, good, poor and shoebox. Let's start at the very bottom and work our way up. A shoebox set of accounts is what we would say it is if there's been no bookkeeping done whatsoever. Basically, the amount of records that you have never been put into any bookkeeping solution, and it's just a case that you have your prime records, so your bank accounts and items like that. For that, obviously, we're going to be increasing our fee. We're going to be putting more of our fee into there, because obviously there's more work involved for us taking prime records into final accounts. We then have a scale of excellent, good and poor, depending on what type of bookkeeping you've done. So if you've done bookkeeping for us and you've been using QuickBooks, for example, then we just take an example of how we feel that information is going to be. If you're stating that your records are excellent, that means that they are always in good health. So they've always been up to date, and we've got real-time information all the time. So you've not just worked up until a year end, but you're continuing to work through. And that your bank accounts have been reconciled, and that the information that's been put there is complete. That's an excellent set of bookkeeping, and for that we give discounts on our actual amount that we would normally charge for accounts, because you've done a lot of hard work to get us to that position. We then have good, where good just means that you've got those accounts done to a particular point, and maybe you've not kept up to date with them every single time, but you've got them all up to date for the year end that we need, and we're relatively happy that the records are complete. There's just a bit of work that we need to do to clean them up, to move them into the right area, to maybe put the transactions. We'd still require that your accounts are reconciled as of the date, and we'll still be a requirement that there is actually all the information is pretty much there, but you just give us a bit of option from there. And that's our middle ground. That's where we work with clients, we do a bit of work on their behalf, and they do a bit of work on their behalf, and we find a middle ground when it comes to our accountancy charges. And then finally, we have poor records, and poor records means that the accounts haven't actually been reconciled, they haven't been put to, all the transactions have been put through, and then there's a penalisation from there. If though there is even more work to be done and there's clean-up to be done on that record, there may be additional charges on top of having those accounting fees there. But we'll always talk to you, we'll always understand them with you. But the simplest thing to take away from this, from our fee structure, is that as long as you know your annual turnover, you know how many transactions are through that bank account, and you've got an indication what your bookkeeping quality is, the best thing for us to do for that is to have that one-to-one chat. So we would always ask people to book in a call with us so we can understand what your business is, how you've got to where you've got now, what you plan to do in the future. That's what we care about. We care about the business itself. And during that conversation, we'll be able to get most of that information ready for you to provide you a quote at the end, so you can understand if Boffix is going to be the right fit for you. And there we have it, a breakdown of the accountancy service by Boffix. Hopefully you can understand that exactly what it is we provide, and hopefully you can understand how we get to our fee structure as well. My name's been Patrick. Let us know below, is this the service that works for you? Is there anything else you were expecting? Talk to us in that comment section. We love hearing the comments, we love hearing the feedback. So get some involved down there and we can go from there. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that jazz when it comes to our YouTube channel. The more people we can get this channel to, the more people that can listen to what we have to say, the more businesses out there that not only can survive, but thrive. That's the Boffix motto. That's what we intend to do. As always, it's been a pleasure to do this video for you, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.